wait, you need to focus on something. What are you doing here? You can't just live this life and, not do anything, not make an occupation for yourself. First thing is appreciate yourself for who you are. You don't have to be perfect. We're all in this life and struggling with different things that society brings and that life brings, but focusing again, reflecting on yourself, knowing how to be a better you. Fear of, I'm just starting this profession. There's other people that have been doing this for years. What's going to make me different than that other person that's been doing this longer than I am? So coming up with, and I feel that challenge accepted, so you kind of have to make fun with it. And everybody knows like, oh, self-love, yes, appreciate yourself, be happy, and that's all it is. No, like there's so much more to it. Mirror exercising. Every time you see a mirror, say something good about yourself.
You look good.
Exactly. Check yourself, be like, yeah, I'm looking good today.
Yeah. Hello everyone, my name is Michael LaVan, and you're listening to The Growing Up Show. This is a podcast where we talk about becoming an adult and learning to overcome the fear of not being successful later in life. We're finding comfort in the fact that no one has it all figured out. So we have guests on. We talk about their growing up story, and we kind of get some insight as to how they were raised, what they have backing themselves up, and how they move forward in life. Today we have Radaker on. He's a yoga instructor and also helps people train towards self-reliance. We talk about self-love and some exercises we can use to help ourselves appreciate ourselves more, like the mirror exercise. We talk about that more in depth in the show. And how a close friend's death changed his perspective about life. So now he views life as a gift that he's been given, and he doesn't want to waste any time. And also we talk about why we can't just go on autopilot and not make a name for ourselves. We need to take initiative and really apply ourselves in life. So talking about self-love and why we need to take initiative and apply ourselves, it reminded me of a chapter in Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules for Life. Rule number 2 being, treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. I just want to take a quick moment to read a paragraph or two from his book. You need to consider the future and think, what might my life look like if I were caring for myself properly? What career would challenge me and render me productive and helpful so that I could shoulder my share of the load and enjoy the consequences? What should I be doing when I have some freedom to improve my health, expand my knowledge, and strengthen my body? You need to know where you are so you can start to chart your course. You need to know who you are so that you can understand your armament and bolster yourself in respect to your limitations. You need to know where you're going so that you can limit the extent of chaos in your life, restructure order, and bring the divine force of hope to bear on the world. You must determine where you're going so that you can bargain for yourself so that you don't end up resentful, vengeful, and cruel. You have to articulate your own principles so that you can defend yourself against others taking inappropriate advantage of you, and so that you are secure and safe while you work and play. You must discipline yourself carefully. You must keep the promises you make to yourself and reward yourself, so that you can trust and motivate yourself. You need to determine how to act towards yourself so that you are most likely to become and stay a good person. So what we just read there about treating yourself like someone you're responsible for helping, and think about self-love and self-improvement, take initiative to make a name for yourself. I think it's very important that we really consider some of those questions, and if you haven't, take a moment to consider those questions and see, where are you going in life? Are you content where you are, or should you not be content where you are? I know I get pretty comfortable in certain situations, and I feel like, hey, I'm fine. I don't really need to push myself any further. I have what I need, and that's all that I should want. Sometimes I think it's me being maybe modest. Sometimes I think I blur the line between being thankful for what I have and being content with too much contentment and laziness. Maybe I should not be so content and perhaps push myself even further. And that's not something to be selfish at all. Being content is very important, but also pushing yourself further is honestly more important. You have to grow. And when we're talking about self-improvement, that's actually a big reason why I started this podcast. It's not just because I like making videos. Yes, I like making videos, but I also want to get better at making videos. I also want to be better at speaking. I want to get better at writing. I want to get better at having an opinion and having a thought. And put myself in this position, I have to be much more active in what my thoughts are and get better at speaking, because it's pretty difficult to go off the cuff and talk to yourself on the camera and the microphone and the setup, whatnot. But So I'm looking to improve myself with this project. This was a good primer for the episode. Again, we talk about a lot more than what I just introduced. With that being said, you're listening to The Growing Up Show. Enjoy. Since not everyone has like a full understanding as to where they're going in life, and I know personally, I'm walking through and it's like, am I the only one like faking it till he makes it? And then it's like I think other people are faking it, but they're like doing it much more better than I am, like more confidently. And so I'd love to go see, introduce us to who you are right now, and then we're gonna walk through your whole like growing up story and pick your brain a little bit. So who are you right now?
Who I am right now, I would say that I am someone who's more comfortable with themselves. I know my flaws better than I used to. I know my strengths, my weaknesses. Pretty self-aware of all of that around me. Still learning about myself each day. I believe we are in this crazy world, but somebody that I am is I'm more confident.
Yeah, awesome. And then what are you doing as far as career-wise, schooling, stuff like that?
Career, I am a yoga instructor. I've been a yoga instructor for the past 3 years. Since my junior year of high school, I have worked with a company called Training Towards Self-Reliance. A little bit about the company is I am a residential aide. I'll go in and I'll help mentally challenged individuals with daily tasks, whether that's folding laundry, cooking them dinner, taking them out to the community. And then I recently became a medical esthetician. So what that is I'm able to focus on skincare. So acne, pigmentation, wrinkles, loose skin, scarring. I will give medical facials at the salon, Corner Salon in Clarion. And I just started that since April.
Awesome. Yeah, totally. I know, like, I was just talking before we started, I was, like, being very self-conscious as how forward and, like, hunched over I'm sitting. When he said, hey, just get my yoga mat, I was like, yeah, let's get over here.
Zen.
Yeah, I was, like, talking. I remember when I got out of the military, like, not out of the military, but basic training. You're in, like, kind of brainwashed in a sense. You're just like, straight posture, walking down the hallway, like with your chest back, and your back straight. But after like a year of that, you're just like, I'm just gonna go back to it. So like I'm sitting on these benches and these stools, and like I'm looking at myself in the camera. But so you're into you're helping people with self-reliance, and in that sense, is that something that you saw yourself pursuing when you were in high school? And
my mom worked for the company, and she recommended that I get a job, and I was nervous. I had never really understood mental disabilities and what they were, and seeing what happens at that workplace had me a little bit self-conscious. But at the end of the day, I've been at it since my junior year of high school, and without this job, I would not be who I am today. I've learned so many things, appreciated so many things, and it's actually a very rewarding job.
I would say, like, compared to, I got my first job is in junior year as well, and it was McDonald's. I kind of stuck around there for 4 years. That doesn't, compared to what you're just saying right there, I can see that being much more rewarding. I'm not dissing on McDonald's, but McDonald's sucked. It's like, actually, not JK, but yeah, learning actual like life skills and being able to teach others seems more meaningful than flipping burgers and getting those good fast food deals or whatever, coupons. Moving on to, did you have any schooling, or did you go to college afterwards?
So with medical aesthetic training, it was just I believe an 8-month, I was in school for 8 months. And after I graduated, I got my certification, took my boards, and then started implementing my skills at the salon. I had to take an additional training with the certain products that I use because they are more advanced, paramedical, and it was about a 3-day course as well. So with my license, I'm able to see what courses are out there, what classes are out there. I'll take, whether if it's a 3-day week training, I'm able to get that certification within the time period.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and then you're also, I personally know you that you're into like dance and stuff, correct?
Yes, I found dance to be one of my favorite things at the late years of my high school schooling. I would love to continue it, but right now in this chaotic world,
you're having to balance like work and stuff.
Exactly, yeah. But it's one of those things where who I am as a person, where I could tell you who I am, write you a 5-page story of life lessons, what I've been through, experiences, etc. or I could show somebody a dance, and I'm able to express myself more in that way,
that's awesome.
and connect with the music and just the feeling and the emotion behind that. That's what I would like to do.
Oh, absolutely. That made me really happy the way you worded that, because I went to school for art, and that's something like when people ask you who would you go to college for, it's like art, and they instantly think they're better than you. It's like, you went, never mind, I went for chemical engineering or just
Exactly.
like I'm gonna change my answer. But
Right.
that's so cool that how do you balance like that passion, that is that more of a hobby right now for you then, or
Right now, yeah, I'd say it's just a hobby because I really don't have a space to work in. So pretty much it's just, hey, I'm going to jam out in my kitchen and try to make whatever I can with choreography and see what works and videotape myself on the phone. And that's pretty much what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, that's dope. I know, like, with my passions, my hobbies, going through like high school into college, even through there, it's like, and seeing other people being like successful with their like seemingly, when you see someone online doing what they love, you think they're always doing that, but that's not the case. Like me making videos, maybe to someone else it looks like that's all I do, but really it's not. Like I work every day, and then on the weekends or in the evenings when I have time, I try to squeeze it in. How do you kind of balance that?
Pretty much on my free time, whether if I know I have a full day, I'll look at it and think, okay, you need to get up at 8 in the morning so you can get groceries and get the things that you need to complete, and then give that time to yourself. It's very important to give that time to yourself. A lot of people are just rushing, whether if they're always thinking about what they're doing the next day, got to go here, got to be here, got to do this, got to have that done by this time. I like to space out my schedules a little bit so I know I can dedicate that time for myself just to focus on whether if it's cleaning around the house or uploading some videos and just dancing for a couple hours.
Yeah, absolutely. So cool. I think we have a good understanding as to who you are right now, and that's pretty cool. I learned some things I didn't know about you. Can you then go ahead and walk us through your growing up story then? It's just nice to, with the first podcast I had, it should be out by now if you're watching this, obviously, yeah. I kind of skipped that part. We first just went right through the whole transition, like the whole growing up story, and then at the end I was like, oh, so who you are now? And it kind of like made the audience like, oh, where is this going? But since we covered that now, we're able to kind of follow your kind of growing up story wherever you think it's most relevant to start. Like for me, it'd be like probably late high school, but some people get even early, like freaking kindergarten. Like
all right. Yeah, I like to talk about my childhood for a bit.
Okay.
I actually grew up in a farmhouse in Calensburg. A little history about it is before my parents bought the house, there was a guy who actually killed his parents in the house and turned himself in. It was a restaurant called Gallagher's. If you're actually headed towards Calensburg, and it's still there, it's not running, but it's on the left-hand side, and the guy just turned himself in. He had some mental things going on. Really wasn't sure it happened before I was even born. I was born in 1992, so parents bought the house, fixed it up, and then we moved in. It was in the middle of nowhere, so I kind of grew up with nothing, no Walmart being 15 minutes away or anything. We just had the pond, the field, and I really loved my childhood because growing up with my step siblings, freeze tag, ice tag, cartoon tag, camping by the river, that was fun. Those are good memories. So from there, been in Clarion ever since. Attended Clarion High School since my second grade year, and then been in Clarion since, and then started high school.
So you had like almost an early experience with like a mental illness and stuff. And did you see that being like a, looking back at it now, do you see that a correlation between like what you're doing right now as far as a job and like having do like experiences like that kind of arise from your childhood where it's like, oh wait, maybe not everyone has all like, because I remember saying like growing up, saying my parents, my family, everyone seems just normal, and I'm not really, you never get exposed to like,
yeah, I mean, considering
difference.
that happened before I was even born.
Okay.
I didn't witness anything, but like when I was a kid, it's interesting to reflect back on and be like, I wonder what he had where and mental illness then and what they are doing now for people is a lot different than back then. They looked at it as he's sick or he's violent or, something's going on with him, and medication and treatment wasn't very
explored or like accessible. Or
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think there was some issues with the parents, but I don't know the whole story on it. But with what I'm doing now, yeah, I'd like to look back on it and think, oh, I wonder what was going on, or I wonder if he had maybe a different program, things would have happened differently.
Right. And then moving on to, let's see. So that was kind of like your early childhood, and then going through like maybe schooling then, like elementary school, high school.
Elementary school, I had a good life, I would say, just normal kid. Again, growing up with Clarion now. I did have parents that were divorced, so that was very different at that time, experiencing that, seeing my friends with their parents that were together in home settings, so I'd always kind of get a little jealous and be like, oh, they both have a mom and dad that are together, and, they seem good and happy.
And my last guest just said that he grew up with his parents divorced.
And it seems to be the normalcy now, so it's not really such a big thing, but in that time period when you are a child, it does affect you in many ways, kind of being put in the middle of your mom saying this about your dad and then your dad saying this about your mom. So, that kind of actually affects how you live your life, actually how you feel about yourself, because you're like, this part of me is being told that, it's not good. And then this part of me is being told that half of, who I am is not okay. And, just focusing on that. It was hard for a bit, and just being almost like, again, when the child's put in the middle, it's very hard for them to kind of grow up and enjoy society.
Absolutely. I know with my guest I just had on a couple of days ago, he said he had the similar, like he grew up with his divorced parents, but they both remarried, I believe he said, or at least they both found other significant others. But he actually had a different story, as in they were both kind of strong, independent. They work together. They didn't work well together,
That's
but
perfect.
independently. Whoops. I'm going to be the one who puts water on
I know,
all
I
this stuff.
jinxed it.
You're just
Totally
saying that.
jinxed
Yes,
it.
you totally jinxed me. I had no issue. I'm going to spill my coffee. But instead of just having one strong family, he essentially had two strong families. But that's not always the case for everyone.
Yeah, and I believe, again, who I was back then, I wasn't focusing on what my parents were feeling. I was focusing on what are you making me feel? It was all about me. And you don't think about that when you're older. And some of the books I've read, and the one of the most things that stuck out to me is your parents don't know how to love themselves. And if they don't know how to love themselves, they can't teach you how to love yourself.
Yeah.
So letting go of that resentment and just being like, it happened, they were dealing with what they were dealing with. Whatever they portrayed onto me wasn't intentional. So you have to forgive them for that. A lot of kids that deal with that, I hope they realize that you can't focus on, you can't play the blame game. And that's what we're used to.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just saying, you did this at this age, and you did this when I was this age.
You wronged me. So you should fix it.
You guys were fighting, and I was in the middle of it, but it's in the past, so you have to let that go.
How recently did you were aware of this? You had this change of mindset?
When I came to this realization, I want to say about a year ago is when I started to look into more mindfulness books and started reading about, resentment, forgiveness, and, putting the past. And one of the big things is when you are a child, that is the foundation of how you live. That's what you were taught. You look from your dad, you look from your mom, and what they're teaching you is what you feel like is normalcy. So then you go out to the community and you're doing the habits that they do, and then you're just like, wait, I'm my own person here, so I don't have to do this. And taking some steps back and realizing that you can do your own, start your own course and your own path.
Awesome. Man, that's some deep stuff. Yeah, and then having that different experience with divorced parents and stuff like that. That's something I was fortunate not having to deal with. My parents are very strong in that sense, and it kind of makes me nervous, thinking it's like, oh, it's so easy, because you grow when you're born, you're just like mom and dad. It's like they were always together.
Yes.
Nope, they weren't. And then I'm getting to that age where it's like I should probably thinking about a companion, a partner, someone of interest, and I'm already the age of my parents when they had me. So it's like, but it's a different time, we were saying before we started, and it's kind of scary. And then actually, once you actually find that person to actually be able to work together and become stronger as one, and man, it's kind of scary. It doesn't just happen. You have to work at it.
Right.
Man. Let me see here. What? So that was man, we're just flying through this. This is awesome.
It's like elementary school, so now we're starting up at early high school.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd say High school, I had no idea who I was. I mean, if you knew me in high school, I had crazy hair. I was wearing crazy clothes.
I think I remember, yeah.
I was pretty much like the hot topic
Yeah.
model for school. Oh man, and I just looking back in pictures, it's so cringe.
Like baggy jeans or something. Was that you?
Oh
Was that
my
you?
word, the
Yeah.
chains. Like I said, I don't like to reflect back on
It's
it.
like, actually, I don't have any of the pictures. There's no proof of it. It's like, oh,
literally
gosh.
deleted them all on my old MySpace, so no one could dig those up. So yeah, they're gone.
Man, I never had MySpace. Man, I only ever had Facebook. I should probably look up MySpace. You probably can't even guess. Probably on the dark
I
web
don't
at this
know,
point. Yeah.
right?
It probably instantly gives you like a virus, or like, girl, it has like a meme saying, "Are you serious right now?" When you like
Exactly.
try to log in, it's like, okay, I'll go to Facebook and stuff. I know a couple of years ago, people were saying like Facebook was gonna die off, but it just has not.
It hasn't.
Because like, oh, Facebook's for like grandmas and your parents now. It's like,
Nah, it's for
Nice.
everybody to vent about political issues.
yeah, or the president. Like, oh yeah, political issues. Gosh dang, yeah, idiot.
Right.
Um,
Like, oh, look at her with her child. That's cute. Oh, puppy. Oh, political. Nah.
Yeah,
I'm
it's like-
logging off.
yeah, but then I've at this point I've ruined. I've destroyed my Facebook feed, like the algorithm. So like you just keep liking the same person's stuff. You only see their stuff anymore. So I keep like, because every time they post something, it makes me laugh. And now it's just nothing but them. It's you know Tony Baker?
I do not.
Yeah, Anthony. Do you know Rusty Baker? He's in my
Yes.
grade. Yeah, he has this little sibling,
Okay.
Anthony Baker, Tony, whatever. He always posts like this hilarious like video game stuff and like this nerdy stuff. It's just always super funny. And then also Dr. Phillips, Jamie Phillips on the professor of philosophy in Clarion University, and he's always posting just ridiculous stuff. And now it's just Tony, Dr. Phillips, Tony, Dr. Phillips. It's just nothing
Good.
but yeah.
And that's good. I mean, if when we're seeing that with the naked eye, I believe like when you're seeing negativity and we're seeing all these posts, I mean, people wake up in the first morning and they're going through their phone and that's what they're seeing. And then that affects your whole day when you're just seeing all that blast and negativity and anger or rage or resentment. And then that's how you're starting your day. But when you're saying you're liking all those positive things or
Yeah.
things that make you laugh, like that's great because that's what you should be seeing. That's what you should be paying attention to.
Right, yeah, it's hilarious. Well, so do you have any I was gonna pick your brain a little bit. What was some like maybe one big thing that kind of helped you combat that split between your parents? Like for anyone else there who has divorced parents, like what did you think like kind of kept your head on straight and would help others?
Friendship was one of the main ones, and then there were so many friends that I had where their parents took me in as one of their own. They would always say, oh, this is my
that's
adoptive son Ryan, and it happened with so many families, so I loved it. So not being jealous of your friends for having that family, you know, bond with mom and dad, or dad and dad, mom and mom, whatever it was structured, just connecting with it and appreciating it. Like that's the best advice I could have, is just don't resent anybody, you know.
Absolutely.
Don't be jealous of it, but connect with it and understand it. It's nice to be around, you know, those family settings, whether if it was a family picnic or outing, or we went all to the movies, or they invited me for dinner. That's one way to get over it, to cope with it. Another thing is just talking to your parents. I mean, that's the scary thing, is like, how do I approach them?
Yeah.
And
How do you approach them, like being divorced? Like
you just gotta take the step forward. I mean, sometimes, again, like, your parents are only doing the best that they're doing that they know how at that time period. So maybe stepping up and just saying, hey, I feel like what you're doing right now is also affecting me in a negative way, and I understand you're not trying to do this, but at the same time, if we work with this, or we try something new, or, you know, we talk to each other, express ourselves, because that's the biggest thing, is expressing yourself, which a lot of people are not wanting to do, and
Right.
I didn't want to do at that age either. Is I didn't want to go to my dad or go to my mom and say, hey, this is affecting me, or hey, what you did here actually meant more a little bit than what you may have thought. So
to me, it seems like pretty tough. Like if I was in that situation, I know if I'm like relating this to my parents, like I would see that as being like impossible to do. Like there's no way, even in something that I'm more qualified in than my father is, there's no way I could like tell him, like express my feelings and something like that. I mean, my family is very like reasonable, I would say. But as far as like, Dad, you're doing this wrong, and I think you should probably, like, even as something serious as that, maybe, because like I just feel like middle-aged, you know, parents, men, even like probably mothers, but like they're just more apt, like I've done this like this way, like this is my life, like I'm like that just seems really hard. So in that sense, I probably like being like if you're younger, maybe you have to find someone else, another family, another friend's parents or something to help you like talk to your parents like that. I'm not sure how that did you feel like that in a sense, like you can't change your father's mind or
it was hard in the beginning, and I connected more with my mom than my father at that time, and it was hard to connect with him at that level because he is very old soul and didn't see things, saw things in black and white, but didn't see all the colors in between. And that's how I was, what my vision was, is I saw all these colors and I just try to express myself in that way. And it was very hard for him to see that at that age when I was in high school. Now we're definitely able to connect on each other. He also appreciates who I am and different attributes that I bring to the table, and even, admits like, hey, I actually kind of wish I was more like you in these senses, but I need to work on myself. So that's always good to hear from someone like you. Love and appreciate that. It's like, oh, I wish I was like you in this sense. That's awesome. Yeah, I was definitely not like my father. My father and my brother. Yeah, well, I had my brother on here as like a surprise episode for my parents, because he went back to Japan for the Air Force and stuff. So that's gonna be like a surprise for them. So surprise mom and dad. But we started talking about our history as far as he's been very like hands-on for working with cars and stuff. He knows a lot about like mechanical things. And we were talking about like, I remember my first memories about like with my dad and asking how to fix a car or something. And it was like, that was the day that you became the favorite son, because like I was the guy inside, I was the creative one, like into art, working on the computers and stuff like that. And then Matt was outside in the sun, the pounded metal, and like, definitely connecting. So, yeah, my dad was an avid hunter and going up and getting out in the woods, and I did that for a while. I'd like to get up in the morning, but I'm an animal lover, so it was kind of interesting how he hunts and then I'm rescuing animals. So I'll rescue wildlife and he goes out, but we're still able to talk and connect in that way. I really enjoyed, the most thing I enjoyed with it is it was bonding. It was getting up early in the woods, and there was always cookies and hot chocolate. So I was like, all right, I'll suffer this. But then that's awesome. In the cold, I was like, once it got cold, I was like, all right, I want to go back home. Like, I'm good. I always have to keep checking these stinking cameras, because the last episode I had, the one kept starting and stopping. So instead of having like 4 normal sized like 18-minute long snippets, it was like 30 like 20-second long ones. It was like, what the heck? So it just took me an extra 10 minutes to synchronize them, but they all look like they're doing well, I hope. But all right, cool. So now moving into okay, we're still in high school. At that point, did you have any interests or hobbies or anything that you started picking up then? Favorite like subjects, least favorite subjects? What do we do with life? And did you start like worrying about stuff like that? Yeah, high school's very hard. I mean, you're around all these people that have different lifestyles, and I feel we're suppressing a lot of things that happens in high school, where, as we were talking a little bit before the show, is the big thing is first week before high school, or before you're starting your subjects, you're going out, you're getting these school clothes, and you're getting, wanting to look good and focus on the ego. And then we're not focusing on the other people that actually, are under poverty and don't have the money to go out and get new supplies or get new shoes. So I was in the middle, I would say, is I always did have a couple outfits, but at the same time, I was always worried about what people are going to think of me. That was pretty much a lot of my thoughts every day in high school, is what do they think of me, or do they not like how I look? But I always expressed myself because I also didn't care. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna dye my hair red this week, we'll see what happens. That's awesome. But yeah, my least favorite subject, math. Sorry, Mr. Harmon. But, oh, dang. Mr. Harmon, sorry. I really liked science. Mrs. Zamzo's class was one of my favorites. Okay, yeah. That's a given. I think if anyone goes to Clarion, they're like, Mrs. Zamzo, come on. 7th grade, I will never forget. She's retired, but Mrs. Alleman was my favorite. Oh, yeah. I connected with her so much. She was such a good present to see, and she always made you feel welcome. That was a big important thing. Mr. Constantino, another teacher that had a big effect on me. He was just always happy, always smiling, always asking. I see him at like the random, like I'll see him at Walmart and stuff here. Actually, I think I saw him out of my corner of my eyes today. I was at like Comet, but then I was like already walking past, and it was very like, it was so like I just barely saw him, so I didn't turn around and look. But and then art class was always absolutely good. Yep, because you always saw your friends, and you're just Whether if I was good at it or not, I just knew art class was
That's
one of my
awesome.
favorites.
So like for me, like I'm a very like kind of reserved guy, like very like I don't know what to say, like very average. I always thought I was like average, but when I go in like in high school and I see someone like I would say you then if, with a crazy hair color or something, like, you have your hair dyed and you have like just like I don't know, you're saying like swag clothing you have. Like I'd be like, oh man, this guy's confident and stuff, and he has like he doesn't care what anyone thinks. But that's not necessarily what you were thinking,
No,
was it?
It was not. I was always afraid. And I mean, I got picked on,
Yeah.
Bullied, but still, for some reason it just it makes you stronger. And then once you kind of leave out of that society, out of high school, you realize that those things don't matter.
Yeah. In a sense,
no
like
importance.
Yeah, I actually feel like I worry more of what people think of me now after high school than I did in high school. It's weird. Yeah, I'll be like, oh, I don't want to wear anything too like, I don't know, weird or what was that? I've worn the same clothes for like 6 years. I need to like get rid of all the clothes all the clothes I do wear are in like my my hamper, and then when I just pick them out of there and wear them, and they're in the hamper again, and then all the ones that are hung up are the ones I don't wear. So I should probably get rid of those and get like a more like just minimalist
I mean, hey,
wardrobe,
I'm always
you know?
down to go shopping if you need some,
Yeah,
need some advice.
that's one thing. Is like I feel like I just I wouldn't be able to shop for myself. It'd be like I'm just gonna buy a shirt that doesn't like fit me well or doesn't make me look flattering or something. But yeah, I'm gonna have to take you up on the offer sometime.
No problem.
And then going through that, like not everyone in high school, like the ones that seem confident and have it all, like don't care what the world thinks, probably do, but they just know how to kind of like bluff.
Exactly, put on this facade that everything's all good. But I believe we all do that to a point. No one wants to express themselves with their, what they're going through or what's happening in their lives or what they're not confident about. It's always, look at this. And now that I know that, life isn't perfect, and one of the biggest things is Mrs. Phillips. I remember she posted a status that was like, I'm wearing the shirt that I pulled out of the laundry basket. We're eating leftover pizza for breakfast. And it's like, yes, like show, the things that are just like chaotic in this world, because everybody's not perfect. Every family has, they're going through whatever they're going through, and we're all just trying to get through life one day at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we got that. Man, I feel like I'm doing fairly well as far as staying on course here. The first one was a wreck. We were like, Mark and I, we just kept getting off topic and stuff.
It happens.
Yeah, it was the first one, so it's all good. It was all good fun, very experimental. That's what I'm finding that's awesome with this. Like the more going on, like I thought I had to like prepare this ridiculously, like every question, everything, but really not. The way I'm going for is like a very casual discussion, and it's just more genuine. We're getting like more like meaningful answers and stuff. Okay, so we're talking about high school. So like junior senior year, I think that's like the most prominent time where you start thinking about like, I need good grades so I can get accepted to college. Am I going to college? I mean, we have to, right? Everyone has to go to college. What was the kind of like your like 11th 12th grade like spaz?
Didn't care.
You didn't care?
Did not care.
Awesome.
I look back at it, I wish I would have put more into my academics, but right then and there it's just like, I'm done. I want to be out of here. I just want to do things, travel. I wouldn't say I got horrible grades. Again, going back to math was not my strong suit. Other than that, once I hit senior year, I got hit with this reality, going into the guidance counselor and say, okay, you kind of need to get this stuff. What are you doing? I want to go to psychology. I wanted to become a photographer. I wanted to become a dance teacher. I still didn't know what I wanted to be.
Yeah.
They're throwing this at you. Oh, you got to do your PSSAs. You got to do your testing, your SATs. You have to get this ready. Where are you going? You need to look at schools. And I just didn't want to do any of that. I was still just enjoying what I was doing.
Right. I almost forgot about the whole like hassle, because like it's just kind of things for me. It seems just kind of like work. I'm just like, I like 5 years ago I couldn't plan to be where I am right now. I'm currently on ADOS orders in the Army, and I couldn't plan that. I didn't like seek that out. In the National Guard, it's a part-time job. You're like a weekend every month and then 2-3 weeks in the summertime. But you also have active guard and ADOS, which is like you're in the uniform every day. That's your like kind of career, your job.
Okay.
But my first sergeant reached out to me and was like, hey, we have ADOS orders in Clarion. You're the one of the two that in our unit are from Clarion, and he offered it me first because I outright the other guy. It's like, yeah, I'll take it. Don't know what it means, but or what it entails, but I'll take it. And so now I'm working as a recruiter's assistant here on campus in town. And I get to stay local, so
Nice.
that's been kind of helping me. I can support myself, and then also on the side here, it's like what time is it? Freaking 6-7 o'clock in the evening, and getting into I love having people over, getting to pick their brain, learn something new about a fellow friend, and do this on the side. So don't have it all figured out. I mean, but still get to do enjoy life a little bit here and there. How do you do the same? I guess.
I'd say I just focus on what's important to me. Focus on what brings you happiness. That's the most. Mm-hmm. That's the thing to look at. So looking at it as a whole is, well, you're becoming an adult, so you need to get your occupation going on. What are you making? What are you doing? Setting aside bills, all that fun stuff that we love to do.
Yep.
But still taking time, connecting with your friends, whether that's just going out to dinner, going to get some wine, FaceTiming, going to see a movie, or traveling down to the city, or taking a week into yourself and just reflecting on you. You always don't have to be near somebody. That's another thing that I think we do too much, is we always think that, oh, well, if I'm with my friends, they're going to bring me happiness. Or if I connect with this person, I'll feel good. Rather than just taking the time and just being your own best friend, going out, whether that's just going to the woods and taking a walk, or just sitting at home reading a book and enjoying your time. So I just take a lot of time. And again, with the yoga, it's just with my training, my professor was like, you need an hour of meditation every day.
Okay, I was going to ask, do you do meditation?
I do meditation.
Okay, yeah. What's your thoughts on that?
So there's so many meditations out there. The first ones I experienced is just, again, our mind is racing. What are we doing? What are we cooking? What do we have to do for dinner? What time do I have to be there? What am I wearing? Or do I have time to be here? Do I have to get gas first? I mean, all these thoughts are going through our mind. Mm-hmm. So the basic meditation is just sitting there, focusing on your breath. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. And then just focusing on that. And then I like to keep a journal. So each time I'm thinking of not breathing in or out, write that down. When did I lose focus? How many times did I lose focus? That's basic meditation right there, is just concentrating on nothing but one thing.
And do you want to lose focus? Or
sometimes you do. I mean, we're not, people, we're always thinking. So again, training your mind just to stop. Right. And how beneficial that is, because you're not thinking about everything else that's going on in the world. You're just thinking of one thing. And how often are you thinking during the day? What are you thinking right now? What are you thinking when you're driving? What are you thinking when you're at the store? What are you thinking with your friends? We're always processing something. So meditation is very good just to relax your body as a whole. There's also, I call it gibberish meditation, where you're just speaking gibberish. And what that is your brain isn't concentrating on anything that's going on. So you're not so those people that are thinking so much, you're not letting any of those thoughts coming in. You look like a fool while you're doing it. And then meditation of laughter, just laughing, even if it's fake. Yeah. Laughter does the body good.
Yeah, that was forced what I just did. No, I was kidding.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's awesome. Different ones out there. Right now I'm reading more of shamanism and their meditation. So getting really deep into concentrating, relaxing your body, slowing your breathing, decreasing the heart pumping, just really getting in that tranquil state.
Right. I know some people I've heard, when I think of meditation, I don't think of a mindless thing, but I know I'll watch some YouTube videos on it, and some people will say, well, let's try for that. Let's try to get everything out. But there's other ways that you can meditate, but kind of be thinking about stuff, right? It's about kind of being in yourself. Mm-hmm. I know even people see prayer as being a form of meditation, or it should be a meditation in a way. Is there a spectrum of that? Or have you experimented with different signs, or you just kind of do the old just kind of get it out?
Yeah, I just get it out. Right. Sometimes I'll either draw a nice bath with some essential oils and Epsom salts, or I'll go out in the woods and just sit there and I pray. Just give some self-reflection to some things out there. What I want right in the world, and trying to bring self-awareness to either my struggles in life, what's going on, car troubles, little things like that, and just putting it out there and releasing it. So anything is a form of meditation if you're just reflecting on yourself or something that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Checking these cameras. All right, good stuff. Nice. All right, so that was senior year of high school. And then moving. Okay, you graduated high school. Bam. What's going on?
So I graduated high school, still didn't know what I was doing. So I was kind of tossing back and forth, do I want to go to college? And I was not wanting to take another math class, no matter what it had to do with my profession. I did not want to take general education. It's just not something that interested me. And I give so much accreditation for everybody that goes out there and does that, 4 years, 8 years, whatever you're doing. I honor that completely. That's just not something I wanted to do.
I know what you mean. For someone not like art, smart, like book intellectual, man, I can't believe you guys can do that for 4 years. Good job.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I see one of my best friends just became a doctor right now. So I've seen her 4 kids working 32 hours a week and, doing organic chemistry and going down to Pittsburgh and my word. So yeah, I recognize the dedication that those people have, but that's just not something I wanted to do. So I stuck with my job still in mental health. Was doing the 40 hours a weekend, had the full week to kind of do on myself, and it was paying more than the minimum wage around here. So, still just making my life and traveling, doing some fun things that I wanted to do. And then finally, after 2 years, it just like, wait, you need to focus on something. What are you doing here? You can't just live this life and, not do anything, not make an occupation for yourself, not focus on something that you wanted to do. I was just always, my head was in the clouds. And that's just the type of person I am. I kind of space out sometimes, and then I have to ground myself and get back on track. So then I started to feel like, okay, yoga really interested me, and I always wanted to help people no matter what profession it was. I wanted to make sure that I was making a difference. Why be here if I'm not helping somebody, is what my thought process was. So I did my yoga training course, and that was 3 years ago. It was an 8-week course with the Ida Torres. She was a native in Clarion here for a few years, worked at the ashram in Saigo, and she also did yoga out of a salon that is no longer in Clarion called Ecoasis.
Okay.
So I worked with Edith, would go to her house. She'd teach me, the yoga diet, the yoga way, meditation, showed me some videos, and then really it was more of a personality. And then it got deep. She found out my flaws, what were some big struggles in my life, some things I went through, and made me who I am today. So within that, I started doing yoga at the YMCA and at some of the local wineries here, and seeing what worked, what didn't work, kind of approaching it. And then I got into essential oils. So using essential oils in the practice, kind of took a few years to study them, because I didn't want to ever give somebody like, oh, use this oil, I'll help you with that, and then them have some crazy reaction. I wanted to make sure that I got all the information. These oils have been used for many, many years, but now that they're actually being more of a research approach, John Hopkins is actually teaming up with the company that I work with. doTERRA is the company that I work with, and using these oils for medical research, whether if it's for cancer, for different treatments. So they've been out for the past 4 years. So now I'm like, okay, yoga instructor, essential oil advocate, focusing on that holistic approach, really getting to know more about that, what's derived from nature, what can be utilized for many different things, and hearing people's stories. Oh, well, I used this and this is how this helped me. Or, my own experiences, how I got into it was having some crazy bacteria infection underneath my lymph ducts in my armpits. And the doctor was thinking I had cancer. I had lymphoma. So I had to get tested and got bone marrow. It was really scary for that time period. But then all of a sudden, this crazy oil called tea tree ended up putting it underneath my armpits, and then voila, like the problem was fixed. So that was like, oh, these work. I need to back this up.
Yeah.
So then I started to learn more, take some classes through the company. It's called like Western medicine versus Eastern medicine. So I read some books about that. And finally from there, it's like, okay, yoga, essential oils, there needs to be more. So I was going to go for massage therapy. I was set up from school, and then all of a sudden at my other job, I fell down a flight of stairs and tore my TFC in my wrist.
Oh, wow.
So had to get surgery. Massage wasn't really, the doctor's like, I don't think you should do it.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking, okay, what can I kind of fixate with what I'm doing now? And then that's how I got involved in skincare and the medical aesthetics. So
okay, yeah.
Yeah, so from there, I found what I want to do. There's still more that I want to achieve, and, I want to take more lessons for yoga. I'd like to actually be able to certify somebody one day and become a yoga professor myself, but I have a lot of room to grow before I offer
absolutely
that type of help.
Do you have any like I imagine people when you say like essential oils and people like kind of scoff at that. Is that like something you have to like undermine? Like, let me show you the science behind this, or let me show you how it works.
So there's different companies out there. What the main thing is, you know, the FDA approves something that says like, oh, you can have, you know, 80% or synthetic and the rest organic, and you can put organic on that label.
Okay.
And then something at Walmart isn't going to do you any good because that's a synthetic oil. That's not a pure CPTG certified pure therapeutic grade essential oil. That's what I work with. Is they're all certified pure therapeutic grade. The company tests these oils. So let's say these pesticides were sprayed in Italy, got into the lemons. They test that to make sure, you know, the chemical components that they're selling to the general public. Once they look at that, red flag comes up. No, this is not good. They don't sell it to the general public. They stop the distribution of that certain oil. What's nice about this company is the oils are all extracted all around the world. They make sure that the soil, the climate, everything at its top potency, pureness, that way they can distribute. And actually these oils can have medical properties to be used. So within that, I'm always learning what they're doing. They get back to where they extract from. There's no middleman. So let's say a place like Guatemala, they extract one of the oils from, and they don't have many resources as far as money. So what do? Well, and there was this village where they were extracting the oil from, and they were cooking inside their house over wood stove. So they're breathing all that smoke and getting all these health problems from that. So little kids growing up from that. So what they did is they built outside facilities for like to use outside stoves and ovens for them to cook. And they do more than that. So like in Africa, they give school supplies or shelters for, you know, girls and females that are, you know, being sex trafficked. So they really do more for whatever they're extracting from. So I like that. Like they do have like a Helping Hands Foundation, kind of, you know, what around here, you know, people go to church groups and help with Haiti or go out. That's what they do as well. So I like the positive impact that they bring to the table.
Helping a neighbor out and stuff. Yeah.
So as I'm trying to explain this to the person, like, okay, well, what is this essential oil going to do for me? I have many books, so I'll show them my books and show them the top properties. There's about 120 different oils, so trying to remember this one's good for this or this one's good for that. But basics, like, I think we all know that lavender helps you relax and sleep. To show you how potent our oils are is 1 drop of our peppermint oil would be equivalent to 15 cups of peppermint tea.
Dang.
Yes. So very strong.
Just saying lavender also just makes me feel relaxed.
Yeah. So,
lavender. Like, ooh.
Right. So I use them at the spa here in Clarion. I'll use them with my yoga practice, and I use them with the facials as well.
That's awesome. Yeah. Cool. And then I think did I almost cover what's the last step then? We have and then that kind of reaches you out from right now. Are you still doing the I know I'm always interested in for a sucker who like is really passionate about like hobbies and stuff, and then I'm always curious about how people kind of stick with keeping their hobbies close to them, even though it's busy out there, and, you know, supporting yourself, you have to rake in the money, and so hobbies have to go on the side sometimes. Like, how are you keeping that
right now I'm really focusing on work. I just started at the salon in April, so there's more that I need to be doing, advertising myself, learning more. You know, I don't want somebody to come in and ask me a question and me just stand there like a deer in a headlight. So I'm always trying to focus on, okay, what do I need to know about their skin? Do they have a certain disorder with their skin? So reaching out to people that have been in this field for a while always helps. And also just reading, signing up for classes. The product that I use, they have online classes. So when I'm home, I'm always just, you know, hopping on for a few minutes, trying to learn. And then after, I'm just like, okay, I had a productive day. I did what I needed to do. Now setting time for myself. So that may just be an hour where I'm just at home, outside, reading, or, you know, I don't want to disturb my father, so I kind of wait till he's out of the house, and then it's like, okay, you got about half hour, play some music, what do you want to do? So what's easy is, you know, when I'm always going to destinations, I can drive, so I can play music and be like, okay, what song is going to speak to me? You know, what emotions am I feeling right now? So once I can then choose a song, okay, that part of the process is already done. Very easy. I just made, you know, one of my hobbies, you know, as I was on my way to work. So I'm thinking of choreography as I'm driving. So, you know, you got to multitask, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then weekends, I still have a nice Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So I can at least pick one of those days where it's just like, that day is mine.
Yeah.
Where I can sit in bed all day if that's what I want to do, or if I just want to focus on different hobbies and, you know, whether that's yoga, dance, learn more about the oils. And
yeah, I bet there's some, like, in a sense, could be some overlap or maybe like muscle memory between yoga and like dance. Is there at all? Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you ever hope to like incorporate, like, kind of mix the two at some point, or
It would be interesting to kind of incorporate. I don't know how you would do that.
I'm not sure. Or maybe a better question would be like, are you looking to like have your own like studio to be able to do that and also have like a yoga instruction class or something?
Maybe someday. Like that? I mean, I actually personally don't have my teaching certification to teach dance. So that would be, I mean, don't want to break the law, of course, and have people over and be like, yeah, I'm certified. So everything that I do is just, you know, self-taught. I did take classes my junior year and senior year, but after that it was just, you're on your own, kid. So
that's awesome. Yeah.
Doing that, and then you still can take conventions. Like Pittsburgh will have dance conventions where you sign up, you learn from an instructor. Right. So those are some, like, one of my fun things I like to do for myself, where it's just like, oh, I have 2 days to go down to the city or travel, take this course, you know, advance from it. And you know, that's some things that I like to do. With the yoga and dance, I guess I could say is, I will be teaching in September 1st, so I'll have my own space. We have a really nice space at the salon at the upper level. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah, it's nice because I can do my skincare there, I can do the essential oils there, and yoga there. I like to stay in one facility.
Wait, is that on Main Street here?
Yeah, right beside the tavern. It's a big yellow building.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, and then what's that big white building right there on right side the courthouse? Like, is there anything in that building?
White building beside.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, or like diagonally across the street.
Oh, okay. Right
across Bob's Sub. What is that building? I don't even.
Are you talking about like Studio 13, the tattoo shop?
I did.
Oh wait, are you talking about a salon there? I think that's a nail place.
Okay.
Could be.
I think it's very. Yeah, I don't know. Oh well. Well, are you ready to go into some of these discussion questions?
Oh.
Oh yeah. I need to call this something. I need to get a better name for them, discussion questions. But that's really what they are. We kind of. These are the kind of questions I like to ask all my guests I have on the show, and then at some point I would like to maybe make separate videos on, like, so if one question is what's your favorite color, and then I'll make a video that says, it shows like a cut to everyone who's been on. It's like red, black, yellow. It's like, okay. It's just kind of cool to see other people from different walks of life and giving you different input, and actually a lot of them end up being pretty similar, but then some of them get like something like you just never would think of because you have to be brought up a certain way. What gives you purpose? That's pretty easy. Some people are like, oh, it's like, half the people I have on is like, oh, coming out with the big guns right off the bat, and like, sorry.
Right. What gives me purpose?
Gotta ask it.
Just want to say, why not do anything? As far as what gives you purpose, I always want to achieve something. You know, we're on this life for a certain period of time, so time is one of those things where, you know, things go by so fast, and just looking at life in that form, I want to make sure that when my time is up, I've achieved something. So I like to say, when I'm old, sitting on my rocking chair, I can look back and say, you did it. You know, you did what you wanted to do. You made an impact some way or form, whether if that was a small impact or with the community that you lived in, or, you know, even broader. So yeah, I would say that at the end of the day, I want to look back at my life and say I achieved something, or I made a difference for something or someone.
Absolutely. See, most of these I have to reorganize these questions, but I have the ones like in bold that I like to ask everyone like more frequently. But I feel like we cover a lot of these throughout the podcast. But what are you most passionate about?
I'd say I'm more passionate about teaching people self-love, to have self-confidence within themselves, to love themselves. There's a lot of people that don't, you know, we're always thinking, you know, I'm ugly, I'm stupid, I'm not good enough. I want to get that out. I want to get all this that's out of people's minds and let them, you know, aware that that's a thought that they're having, and you can change the thought. So if you're having a thought where I'm ugly, you can think I'm beautiful. And when you're thinking you're beautiful, you're having a better feeling within yourself.
I know you said you had you actually reached out to me. You're one of the few people who reached out to my Facebook post. Like, so I'm usually I'm reaching out to people like privately, saying, hey, would you like to be on the shows? People I find interesting and stuff. But on Facebook, I posted. I was like, hey, if anyone's interested in coming on to this podcast, I'm trying to kick off. Let me know. You're one of the few people who actually reached out to me, and you said, do you have anyone talking about like self-love, help, and stuff like that? And do you have any more of that actually?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to cover some more of those after we get done through the discussion questions, and then we'll go back to that because I think that'd be some good stuff to listen to. I have to be careful to not just read the bolded questions because I have some good ones here too that are just like unhighlighted. This is one I love. Like, this is something you have to pick someone's brain. Like, as this is something I've thought about a lot. Like, if I'm not doing what I was going to do right now, what's my plan B? So, what is your plan B, or what was your plan B before you kind of like focused in on what you're doing right now?
Plan B would probably was going to go more into the mental health field.
Okay.
Since what I'm doing now, I've taken some classes that our company trains you on with different mental disabilities. I wanted to focus more on children because, again, your child life and your childhood is the foundation that makes you who you are when you grow up. So if you've had these certain experiences that happen to you, those stick with you. So I always wanted to come back to that if that was, what I was meant to do, and work with children. Of course, I've been through my own experience. I can connect with that way. And again, making a difference at a very young stage of people's lives. So that was plan B.
Absolutely. That's awesome. What would you do differently? That's the same question. I don't even know why I had that as a separate one. This is I think this is my favorite question. I think I said this on every podcast, but what advice did your parents give you as a kid that you're only now appreciating as an adult? And maybe it's not advice. Maybe it's like, what did you see that your parents did that that's something that you want to instill in your children, if you have children, or instill into the next generation? My
dad always said, work for the things you want. You appreciate them more. So rather than handing me money and say, hey, here's a new car, or hey,
here's a phone,
right? Work for the things you have. You do appreciate them more. You take care of your stuff more in that way. So. And he still teaches me that, just be appreciative of the things you have. And
yeah, I see that. Same thing. I think my parents did the same thing. I didn't always have the flashiest thing. I had to buy my first phone.
Exactly.
I think they got me one. I think they bought me a phone, and then they couldn't afford the plan. And I had that phone for a month, and they took it away. It's like, sorry, you just get a job and you'll be able to get your phone real soon. And I was like, it's devastating when you're 16 and phones are just becoming a thing and stuff. That's weird to say, because now it's like, what do you mean it was just a thing? But
right.
Boy.
Remember the Nokia?
Yeah. My father had the Nokia. It was such a it was a brick. My gosh, a brick the size of I don't know. It was ridiculous. My gosh. What is the end goal? I feel like this is kind of a metaphysical question, something kind of deep, but to everyone else, I'm trying to think about what am I trying to strive for? This is a question I keep changing every day. Am I pursuing happiness? At the end of the day, you touched it. If you said earlier, if I'm able to sit on my porch with you didn't say lemonade, but I was picturing you have a lemonade on your rocking chair.
Lemonade sounds good, whatever it is.
Or a fruit punch or something. I have no idea. But what is your end goal?
End goal is just to make sure that I was able to be a better me in all shapes and forms, whether if that's health, strength, working on my weaknesses, working on my flaws, making sure that I'm able to recognize each thing that comes into my life and not reacting how society teaches us how to react. Just taking things at a more calmly manner, a more precise manner, evaluate things more clearly, and sit there at the end of the day, like I said, on the rocking porch and thinking I wouldn't have changed anything, or how things happen were meant to happen the way they did, and it was all a learning process in that time period. So yeah, my goal was just to make sure that I did what I wanted to achieve.
Right.
Crazy realistic goals was, I guess you could say, just to make this fun, is I always would love to create a non-profit organization to help animals.
That'd be cool. Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be great.
What are the components of a meaningful life?
Components of a meaningful life. One thing I would first state that is, again, going back to the self-love. If you're beating yourself down day by day, things around you start to change. You know what I mean? Where you're not happy at your workplace, you're not happy with what you're doing. Your relationships start to fall, whether that's with your friends, your significant other. So first thing is appreciate yourself for who you are. You don't have to be perfect. You know, we're all in this life and struggling with different things that society brings and that life brings, but focusing, again, reflecting on yourself, knowing how to be a better you. Whether if that's, hey, you get angry sometimes when you're driving down and somebody cuts you off, or, you know, you're struggling with finances, just, you know, work on that. Seek help would be another thing. A lot of us just kind of think we can take things on our own. That's not the case. Seeing a counselor, seeing a therapist, that's nothing bad. You know, people think that, oh, if I, you know, ask help from a professional or seek help, then something's wrong with me. And it's not, no.
Right.
I'd say that. Another thing is, get out. You know, we're always wanting to stay in, you know, being outside. You don't need to do anything productive, of course, but just get out. Right. You know,
sometimes I'll be like sitting here inside and like after the whole work day and stuff, and then my roommate, he'll be out with his girlfriend and stuff. I'm here by myself, like, man, I want to get out, but like all my friends are busy or something.
Right, that's what we're always saying. All my friends are busy. What do I do?
What do
be
you
your
do?
Best friend? Like,
okay. See, that's a good tip. Yeah, because like I know yesterday actually I all my friends are literally busy, and so it's like I just like, okay, I took my board and I was boarding around town, and actually on my way there I ran into a friend, like her name is Grace, and I just randomly ran into her, and she was like, hey Michael, as I was boarding by, I was like, Grace, and then I just stopped and I gave her a hug. Yeah. We started catching up real quick, and we set a date for the future to hang out and like maybe do like a little photo shoot or something. So that's pretty cool. So. But I mean, that's something that's like I struggle with. Am I going to be able to do that like tonight? Like after I'm done with here, like I want to go out, but all my friends are going to be busy or something. Like, oh my gosh. So,
right.
But I do have this podcast to work on, so I guess I should probably stay in. But it's awesome. Oh, this is a joke question.
Oh.
But if you can answer it seriously, that's cool too. But that's probably a joke. On a scale from 1 to 10, how well do you have life figured out?
Say I'm not a 6.
Oh yeah? Okay.
I'd say a 6.
Oh, dumb. Quick little intermission. And now that the intermission has ended, or the hard cut we just made, that was the same thing happened in my brother's podcast. We did I think I made like an intermission gag where we just had like elevator music and we're just like talking. It was his joke, but I'm not gonna do that again. It's like, but we're talking from a scale of 1 to 10. You think you have life figured out at about a 6?
A 6.
Is that being you modest, or you're just like naive?
As far I'd say as far as myself and what I know, what I want to do in life, what I want to achieve, I have it figured out. Now the hard thing is bills, you know, the lifestyle, you know. You're going to get an apartment, you're going to get a house. When are you going to do this? Putting money aside. Wait a second, your car just needed $3,000 of work. What are you going to do? So in those things, you know, I kind of freak out because I'm like, oh, wow, I mean, I only make so much money right now. What do I do? So luckily I have the support system from my father, from my grandparents. If ever I was in a struggle, I could ask them. But then again, it's really scary because you never know what things are going to happen. And, you know, I try to do the adult thing and create a savings account, but also material items are fun.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like you want to go shopping, or let's just go out and have this $50 meal, you know? So I can recognize my flaws in that way, where sometimes it's like, you should probably plan your finances better. So I'd say the 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all those areas when it comes to adulthood that I still have to work on. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, I have one more question here, and then you actually said during that little hard cut, you wanted to bring back something that we forgot to mention. So, and I think that's something we should it'd be worthwhile hearing because it sounds very important. Last question here is, how do you combat the fear of not being successful later in life? So I mean, it's like, okay, so after this job, like my contract, my orders run up, how am I gonna keep making money? And then like, you know, later down the line, how am I gonna like find my, like, the person I'm gonna be with my life, and how am I gonna retire with enough money to live until I die or something? How do you combat that fear?
As far as what I look for in the future, everything is going to happen the way that it needs to happen. You kind of have to give faith in the universe. You know, you can't just think, oh, what if this, because if I'm thinking, if this doesn't work, what am I going to do? What happens if this happens? Then I'm not giving my mind to focus on what I need to be doing, or what I can be doing with different things that are happening with my life. So I'm always focusing on the fear. It's not going to help me out at all. So I like with my profession, my job that I've been at with my junior year of high school, it's always going to be there. So that's nice that I have a paycheck consistently every 2 weeks. So that's always nice to have. However, the fear of, I'm just starting this profession. There's other people that have been doing this for years. What's going to make me different than that other person that's been doing this longer than I am? So coming up with, and I feel that challenge accepted. So you kind of have to make fun with it. So it's just like, what can I do differently? What are things that people haven't introduced yet? What are some things I can certificate myself and give some different ideas or different treatments here that the Clarionites have not experienced. So you got to stay passionate about what you do. You got to stay focused. And again, it's hard sometimes not knowing what always is going to happen and be out there. And I fall under the path of I'm giving up. I don't know what else to do. But then, you kind of got to pick yourself back up and say, okay, what am I doing differently? Reach out. There's always different things that you can do how to market yourself. So
yeah, absolutely. All right, so that's all the questions I have there for the discussion questions. I like to ask everyone those. You said you had a kind of I'm not sure you say traumatic, but like a very impactful moment in your life. I would love for you to tell us that story.
In 7th grade, we lost a school member. His name is Matthew Coleman, and he was one of my best friends. And at that time, I never experienced loss. So, when you're going to school, how do you learn from that unless that experience actually happens to you? And in that experience, some people that I would never thought would reach out or, say hi to me down the hall or, make their appearance noticed within, myself. Everyone came together. It was a sad time, a hard time to deal with. Didn't know what I was going to do. I remember in that time period, when that happened, it was when AOL was still a thing. You know what I mean?
What's AOL?
AOL was that, instant messenger, kind of like Facebook Messenger, but it was just message you couldn't really see, and then you could change the color of your font.
Okay.
Yeah, it was old school.
Yeah, I don't think it might have been too old school for me, and you're only a couple grade older than me. My goodness.
And somebody, one of my school friends was like, "Hey, did you hear that Matthew died?" I was like, "Oh, this is a joke. Why are this is ridiculous." And then my mom coming in my room and saying, "Hey, there's something I need to tell you," and then I immediately knew this is for real. And just sitting there, I remember going outside trying to think, what could I have done? Is there something that I could have been there or, stopped it? And then thinking about that and then going to school and then connecting with your friends and all of us hurting and not knowing what to do. And you saw the teachers at that time, they were, trying to be empathetic and trying to help. But again, they didn't know what to say or, no one can make that process better. Just try to be understanding of everybody's healing process in that time. So I made friends because of that. It drew a lot of people closer. It was nice to see again. As far as Clarion, as we know, everybody kind of has their clique, but everybody reached together in that time. And within this whole podcast, you're asking, what do you want to do when you're growing up? How do you stay motivated, when you're thinking, how am I going to be successful if these things are happening? Well, I look back at my friend Matthew, his lifeline was cut short. So I'm given this life, and each day is an opportunity to make something new or something better for yourself. So that's also a drive, I would say, is losing one of my best friends at a young age, and for him not to experience some of these things that I've experienced. It's kind of how you have to move on.
Absolutely. And then you had you said you had a list of kind of self-help things
so I want to say one of the bigger things is, again, when we learn our belief systems at a very little age, and that comes from our parents. So, little things that we pick on, whether if your dad's driving on the road and someone cuts him off and he's instantly saying, F-bombs or flipping the bird or anything, and then we reach upon that. It's like, okay, so we're supposed to feel angry in that moment when somebody does that. Or, the littlest thing happens where, let's say your mom is making a recipe and she forgot something, and then she's slamming on the counter, and so we're little, so all this anger is happening and it's building us who we are. So then either we become that angry person, or we also become afraid from what's going to happen, where okay, I see somebody else, they drop something, I'm immediately going to tense up and be like, what are they going to do? And then realize, oh, not everybody reacts in a certain way. So I want to recognize that as changing your belief system. And again, that doesn't mean spiritually or anything like that. I'm not putting that out there, but like telling yourself things where, okay, if this happens, how am I going to react? And I believe like reaction is a powerful tool where, somebody is in a car accident or you stub your toe or anything, like, how do you react to that? Are you going to remain calm? Or are you just going to move on? Or are you suppressing those, letting those emotions out too much? Mm-hmm. That's one thing I wanted to talk about. A big thing, though, why I'm here is, again, how I approached you in the beginning is, do you have anybody talking about self-love? And everybody knows, like, oh, self-love, yes, appreciate yourself, be happy. And that's all it is. No, like, there's so much more to it where, again, and I recognize this, I did it through high school, is I'm not good enough. I'm never going to be like them. I'm not attractive. I'm not strong. I'm weak, putting all these things, and then we start to believe them. And then how do you view that? How do you think somebody is going to get through life when they're constantly telling themselves that they're not good enough, or they're not attractive, or they're not as cool as that other person, that they know? So focusing on that as a whole, and little things you can do is waking up in the morning saying, hey, I'm beautiful, or hey, I'm important, or I love myself. And people are like, well, that's weird to tell you that. It is, when you first do it, but then, waking up, and then once you get in that habit, it's like, okay, and then that starts your day. Mm-hmm. And why wake up seeing, like, the first thing out there being negative or something, you're starting your day with that. So I'd like to focus on, like, each morning when people are waking up, going to the bathroom, it's called mirror exercising. Every time you look in a mirror, say something positive about yourself. You may not believe it at first, but over time, get in that habit and things start to change. You start to have self-confidence and believe more in yourself and appreciate yourself more as a whole. And then, like you said, you're always thinking, oh, well, what can I do? Oh, my friends aren't doing anything. Well, you start to like yourself more, so you're going to start appreciating your own company. Mm-hmm. It branches off in so many ways.
Absolutely. You think about, like, every day, like, little bits of negativity, like, chipping at you little by little. I mean, the same thing goes for, like, positivity. Little positive things can chip at you.
Exactly.
But, like, in this metaphor, it, like, chips it back. Like,
yeah.
But yeah. And then, is there anything else you have there?
So I also have... This is
I must say, for like none of my other guests I've had on, like, I'm pretty, like, I never say to, like, hey, get prepared, because it's usually it's just on me to kind of geared it. But yeah, I appreciate you kind of coming a little prepared with, like, a little note card.
Right.
Like,
so again, we all know, or most of us know, the law of attraction. So we also think, okay, that goes to physics. No, it actually goes to the universe. And when we're putting these things out there, everything's happening to us as a whole. So if you're always sad, depressed, think, and again, depression stems from mental illness. So I'm not always saying that you can fix depression, mm-hmm. But you can do things that also help with that, whether, again, like telling yourself you're worth it, going out and doing more for yourself, making, whether if that's just, drawing, everybody has their niche. So putting that out there and just saying, okay, today I'm going to focus on myself. And when you're going on day-by-day life and you're driving in your car, somebody, like I said, somebody cuts you off, or at work, somebody just made you mad, and how you react to that, did you yell at them? Did you get them? Like, putting all that out there, and then that comes back to whether, everybody believes in karma. So that's what I like to establish about too, is when you're putting all these bad things out there, you're not going to enjoy your life. Things are going to start happening. Whether if that's, financial problems with your relationships, everything is stemmed by you, pretty much. Is everything happens by the choice that you make. So reflecting back on each day maybe, and just going like, okay, so I went to work today, and then so-and-so said, hey, you kind of sucked yesterday at your job. Okay, so do I suck now? Like, is that just who I am? Just this person that sucks? Or just going back and say, they didn't approach me in the best way. I understand that I did something wrong. So rather than criticize myself for it, I'm only going to advance from this. So again, it's all a thought pattern that we have here, and it takes practice. I mean, I'm still working at it. So that I would like to mention is, reflecting back on each day, seeing, and again, keeping a journal. That could be fun for you. Like, so-and-so happened today. How did I react to that? And then going back, was it a good reaction or was it a positive reaction? And then over time, you can see each time you react in a positive way or advance from that in a positive way, you'll start to see things become better. You know, relationships with your friends, relationships with your family, relationships within yourself. That's the most important thing, is being your own best friend.
Awesome.
And then also, I think a lot of us like to reflect back on the past, and one of my favorite quotes I wanted to mention is how foolish for us to punish ourselves in the present moment for something that happened so long ago.
Okay, yeah. So, is is there an example with that?
Okay, so say, you know, you're sitting there with your friends, or you're outside and just enjoying yourself, and then you think about something that brought you sadness.
Okay.
Why are you thinking about that? You know, and again, like, people think of, you know, past loved ones and stuff. That's normal.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably a good example. Would be like exes or relationships.
Exactly. You know,
stuff.
something that happened, and be like, that happened. You know, you're not going to be able to fix those things that happened. So don't think about them, because they're not doing you any good.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
A lot of people relish on the past, so that's just something that, you know, try to change that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, do you have any more self-help things, or is that all you have for us today?
Like I said, the basics is, you know, meditation, if you want to try meditation. And like I said before, focus on your breathing. You're breathing in, you're breathing out. And mirror exercising. Every time you see a mirror, say something good about yourself.
You look good.
Exactly. Check yourself, be like, yeah, I'm looking good today. Yeah. You just could be rocking some sweatpants and some pajama bottoms. But hey, as long as you're saying something and appreciating that,
and
right?
Chipping away.
I know a lot of people, they like to post clips from magazines, you know, positive thoughts, phrases, mantras, prayers, you know, right by your bedside. So when you're waking up. So just little self-hips and self-tips, and see what helps along the way with everybody. And, you know, everybody has a process. And
awesome. Yeah. Well, with that being said, I think that's all I have for everyone. Is everything you have for us too, or?
That's good.
Awesome.
Good.
Well, Ryan, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come over here. It was a lot of fun. I hope everyone learned something today.
Not spilling the coffee.
Yeah,
we did good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, you made it to the end of this week's episode. I just want to take a quick moment to extend an invitation out to anyone else you want to come on this show. Please reach out to me. You can. My email will be in the description, and I'd love to have you on. Currently, since this is such a small project and I'm focusing more on improving myself, I'm kind of reaching out to people I think have a good story. Even if they don't have a good story, just to reach out and have fun shooting a podcast with them. This usually takes about 2 hours of your day. So if you're interested and you're free sometime, try reaching out to me and we'll set up a time to have you over. Also, coffee is on me. Hopefully you like French vanilla creamer. That's all the creamer I have. Or if you like black coffee, that's even better. I have like 5 different flavors of coffee, so I think we'll be good. And if you don't like coffee, then maybe don't don't email me. No, I'm just teasing. But once again, guys, thanks so much for watching. Come back next week for another episode, and I'll see you then. Have a good one. Bye.